Flash floods have recently struck parts of Saudi Arabia due to heavy rainfall recorded across the kingdom since last week. Flooding from heavy rains is not an uncommon occurrence in the region, with the end of 2022 witnessing the largest recorded flooding in the kingdom's history, transforming its arid deserts into swampy areas. This raises questions about why such floods are happening in an arid climate where an average annual rainfall of up to 100 millimeters has been the norm for thousands of years. The transformation of the desert into fertile farmland seems astonishing, and it leads to curiosity about whether there is something we don't know about the climate changes in the Arabian Peninsula. Saudi Arabia is the largest country in the Arabian Peninsula, but over 90% of its territory is desert land, with one of the world's largest deserts, Rab al Khali, covering an area of approximately 650,000 square kilometers in the southeast. The temperature recorded in Rab al Khali reaches an astounding plus 56 degrees centigrade in the shade, and the annual rainfall is only about 35 millimeters. This is in stark contrast to cities like Rome, which receive 663 millimeters of rainfall annually. Moreover, Saudi Arabia is one of only 6 countries in the world with no permanent rivers. The question arises of how people survive and even develop an agricultural sector in such harsh conditions. While survival in the desert is almost impossible, it is quite feasible near the shores of the Red Sea or the Persian Gulf. Settlements have existed on the coasts of these bodies of water for several thousand years, where people engaged in fishing, livestock breeding, and crop farming. They obtained water by digging wells near the sea, as groundwater is typically close to the surface. Additionally, they built dams to retain rainwater. The Arabian Peninsula looked very different 10,000 years ago, with a more humid climate, forests, and vegetation, as evidenced by natural oases where people lived and farmed. Over the millennia, mainly western winds have blown over Arabia, bringing moist air from the Atlantic. However, this air loses its moisture in the northern sweltering regions of Africa before hitting the Arabian Peninsula. The remaining air, having lost most of its moisture, reaches the mountains and, if any moisture remains, causes rain on the west coast, leaving the central and eastern regions arid. Astonishingly, as much as 90% of the rainwater goes into the Red Sea, indicating the huge amount of water lost. Despite the arid conditions, in the 1930s, Saudi Arabia discovered significant oil resources, which accounted for about 20% of the world's resources at that time. This marked a turning point for the country, leading to economic diversification programs in the 1970s and 1980s. The government adopted a program to develop advanced agricultural technologies, build quality roads to agricultural regions, and create modern irrigation networks. As a result, the country achieved remarkable success in the dairy, meat, and poultry industries, becoming self-sufficient in most meat and dairy products by the mid-1980s. Additionally, the country rapidly progressed from being a food importer to an exporter, supplying grains to over 30 countries, including China and the USSR. Remarkably, despite over 90% of the country being desert land, Saudi Arabia has managed to increase its arable land area significantly. In 1961, the country had only 11.4 square kilometers of arable land, but by 2016, that number had reached 35,000 square kilometers, roughly the size of the Netherlands. This impressive feat has been accomplished through ambitious irrigation projects, drilling wells to access groundwater, and utilizing desalinated water. Nonetheless, the extensive use of non-renewable groundwater sources, such as sedimentary aquifers, has resulted in rapid depletion, with the water level dropping by 60 meters in the Sakran aquifer over 2 decades. To address this issue, Saudi Arabia has become the world's largest producer of desalinated water, accounting for 18% of global desalination production. The country also relies on recycled water for agricultural purposes and implements water-saving technologies like drip irrigation and circular irrigation. To further combat desertification and improve the environment, Saudi Arabia has embarked on significant projects. For instance, the Al Baida project aimed to reverse desertification through artificial irrigation, but funding was cut in 2016, causing the terraces and trees to die. However, unexpected rainfall in 2018 and 2019 revived the terraces and transformed the rocky soil into a flourishing savanna, proving the possibility of rational water distribution from mountain runoff. Saudi Arabia has also taken inspiration from the success of the Great Green Wall project in Africa, which aims to combat land degradation in the southern Sahara by creating a forest strip from Senegal to Djibouti. Saudi Arabia has launched cloud seeding efforts to increase rainfall and plans to plant 10 billion trees in the coming decades, contributing to a total of 40 billion trees planted across the Middle East in collaboration with other Arab countries. Additionally, the country is embarking on an awe-inspiring project called The Line. This futuristic mirrored skyscraper will consist of two separate walls, each 500 meters high and 170 kilometers long, with an area of 34 square kilometers. The city will revolve around this megastructure, incorporating residential, entertainment, and commercial areas, as well as schools and parks, all designed to be layered vertically. With no cars and high-speed electric trains, the line aims to provide a sustainable and eco-friendly living environment with an abundance of green spaces, breathtaking views, and a comfortable climate throughout the year. Saudi Arabia's economic diversification efforts have been instrumental in making it a global leader in the oil market, but rather than solely relying on its oil income, the country is investing in its future. Saudi Arabia's determination to develop, innovate, and adapt to the changing environment showcases its commitment to sustainable growth and prosperity, ensuring a promising future for generations to come.